Alright, so this is for my State of Jamaican Caribbean page, and this is going to be my first film review. Because I was going to be primarily dealing with movies, and I don't know if I do short films in the same category or put in a different category. I'll sort that out, but this is going to be dealing with this strictly Caribbean based movies. Maybe I'll do so separate recording for shows, short films. I don't know. I'll sort that out as I go along. So this is a movie that I saw in 2014, so like several years ago. And the funny thing about this is that this is before I started doing YouTube commentary. So, and the thing about it is that I had some very interesting commentary I had in my head about this film, which I'm not going to say because this is about the film Destiny, which starred Carrie Ann Sang and also Christopher Martin. These are two primary stars, and as at the time I saw it, I want to say first up, very entertaining movie, and also if you like the typical eye candy as a male, there, I mean, like you have some nice female figures that you can drool over, which is prerequisite of almost any film is to have eye candy that you can lust after. And although, to be fair, I had some other commentaries about that, which I say, no. First off, I know the guy who wrote this, one of the people who wrote this. And the thing is, the thing about is I didn't say anything because didn't want to suck us hating on dude because dude worked hard to put out a product, and I don't believe like bad minding people, but I had some concerns about the nature of this film that I didn't say out loud at that time. And by this time, dude's not even thinking about this. So yeah. So if he sees this online, I don't think he's going to like be feeling away anything because by this time he's probably moved on to other projects, and much power to him regardless. So now I will also say that if for those Caribbeans who film with soap operas like Royal Palm State, let's just say that this would be deja vu for you. So the premise of Destiny talks about this Canadian female named Lisa whose parents had passed away at some point, and then she wants to sell her family's estate. And yeah, that word, yeah, let's just say that there's some connotation to that word that we'll get into back in Jamaica, and also she's dealing with some personal issues, like she has to deal with the fact that her no good boyfriend Michael, played by Lyndon Fort. Not sure if I remember this guy in any capacity at all. Like she just thought that the guy is just a cliche asshole about to be ex-boyfriend who can't keep his thing in his pants. So she's dealing with a breakup and have to deal with, and she kind of used it as an opportunity to go to Jamaica to get away from her good for nothing boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And she talks with her Aunt Janet, who's her mother on her dad's side, and she says, and she doesn't tell her own aunt that, hey, I just broke up with my boyfriend who was cheating on me. Well, logically she would tell her that though, but I guess her and her aunt aren't close, but or just for the sake of the plot that she's just not going to mention it at that particular moment. And so when she goes there, more drama ensues. Like she meets up with her cousin Mystic, who's like her aunt's daughter, and and also they had the subplot with Mystic and her boyfriend, which her mother doesn't approve of. Don't worry, they're not going to get that much screen time, so it's not really going to factor it. But other person's going to factor it is none other than Sean, played by Christopher Martin, who's going to be her eventual love interest for the film because they encounter each other a few times. And interesting enough, they threw in the crazy ex, like in some woman named Patrice, who's like the psycho ex-girlfriend. Like she's just like her antics are more cartoonish than actually threatening, but she's just there just to be the crazy stalker that Sean wants nothing to do with, due to the fact that she's just off her rockers. And so that factors into it though, like where even though she doesn't tell her own aunt that hey, I broke up with my boyfriend in Canada. Um, falling for this new guy who's this artist who's up and coming. Now, no. With that said, though, there's another plot that comes up. And this is kind of one of the low points of the film, which I did not like. While she's going to the office to the law, I think to sort out the deal with her estate, so her dad's estate. There comes another character I really could not stand. None other than Candy. And Candy's played now by dancehall artist Spice. And this is where the Royal Palm Stick comparison comes in. Now, if you remember, if anybody in Jamaica remembers Royal Palm Stick, like where the main character, Ted Blackburn, who was just basically this village ram, he's married to this woman, but then he has all these other children on the side because the guy can't stop screwing anything with a skirt. Turns out that Lisa's deceased dad was pretty much like Ted Blackburn, and apparently he was screwing Spice's character, who I get Candy on the side, because apparently at some point one day he was in Jamaica. He said, you know what? Even though I was a married man, I'm just going to have this affair with this woman who is unfortunately the every negative stereotype you can think of when it comes to Jamaican black women. Because Candy, I'm not going to spend too much time on her character, but Candy basically said that, hey, your dad was screwing me and we had a kid and I want a piece of what was in this will. Alright, cause basically, even though I'm pretty sure that she knew that he was a married man, but yeah, I just figured that hey, I'll open up my legs to this guy and just probably have a kid so I can use him as a bargaining chip. Yeah, you know those type of so-called mothers that they know that they're the side pieces, but they figured okay, I can get knocked up by this guy and then I can use my own child to make some kind of to try and get some kind of profit from the family estate. So it just had this very cartoonish back and forth between Lisa and Grace in office. And again, this is the downside of the movie I did not like. Is just like how like Lisa as is shown as a more sympathetic and more grounded character, and thus Candy is just this loud, boisterous, cantankerous character who's just so is like she is so like one of those higglers in the coronation market, the one that just can't keep by the mouth and just goes off. And that the mouths are much bigger than the brains. Like they're those type of characters, the characters that come out of so like they belong in a Tyler Perry movie rather than in real life. But yeah, so there's a back and forth between Lisa and one of her dad's side piece, mistress, which factors into the whole thing. And outside of that, it does have her and Sean get more closer, even though she's dealing all the family drama, and more drama is about to ensue because they have to because who else shows up is none other than Michael. Because even though he's supposed to be, do you think that okay, they're over and done with, after the fact? But no, Michael, he's just basically there to fulfill a typical type of character trope, like the asshole ex who just can't, who refuses to acknowledge that hey, their relationship is over due to your actions. Because Michael is portrayed like a malignant narcissist who can't really acknowledge that hey, my actions caused a breakup, and I just figure that hey, even though I screwed up, they don't acknowledge it, of course. I can just get back with this person whose feelings are trampled. And so Michael comes out and says, hey, I'm going to try and get back with Lisa, even though she broke up with him. And he contacts her aunt, who she does, and again, for some reason, she doesn't tell her own aunt, hey, I just broke up with Michael, as I mentioned. So that's supposed to happen. And also, if I had to mention the part where Without speaking of malignant narcissist X, there's even this fun exchange between Lisa and Patrice. Like I think where she knocked her to the club. But I don't worry, you're not really gonna see her after that. I mean, there's one other scene which I won't spoil, but she doesn't really have that obsessive, as obsessive she is. She was just meant to be more of a comedic character. But the main villain is Mike, and so Sean, Lisa, Mystic, and her boyfriend, and there's all meet up at the house. I think there's also this female cop who took a liking to Sean for some reason because she's factories, and Mike and one of his friends meet up, and they go all end up at the aunt's house in the hills in the country, which leads to this very cliche fact where a whole bunch of secrets come up where Aunt Janet finally finds out that her and Mike broke up. And not before she sees her own niece with Sean, and she's basically saying, "Okay, why are you with this other guy? I thought you were with Mike." And then Kat comes out to the bag, says that hey, her and Mike are done. She didn't tell her why, but and then Mike and Sean have a cliche fight, which Mike gets his ass beaten. And then the female cop shows up, and it turns out that Mike's friend stole the car that they came in was stolen, and Mike and his friend get arrested and are really seen further in the movie. And then after that, more stuff comes out, and at this point, Lisa said, "You know what? Whole bunch of drama that has ensued. I'm sure I want to go back to Toronto because she's falling for Sean." And due to the fact that she coincidentally has a good musical talent based on Karen Sang being an actual singer, she figures, okay, you know what, there might be a thing for me in Jamaica doing music alongside the guy new guy I like who's a musician. Now, you think that'd be cut and dry, that would be it? No, more secrets start to come out. Apparently, and this is where they start to take something from Royal Palm Estate. I can guarantee you that they watched Royal Palm Estate when it did this. It turns out, I forgot how they found out, is that her cousin is actually her sister. Apparently, Janet's, I think, late husband, apparently was screwing Lisa's mom. Apparently, Lisa's mom, I don't know if she found out that her husband was cheating on her and want to get payback, or she probably had a wandering eye like her late husband. She had an affair with Mystic's father, and then turns out that Mystic's her half sister, and so her aunt is not really her aunt though. It's just like she just said, "Hey, you know what? I'll just take care of her like my own daughter," because due to all the family soap opera that exists within her sphere, I'm just going to cover up the truth. So at this, Lisa's as well as Mystic is just pretty much saying, "What the hell is this?" Yeah, this is just again, this is where the Royal Palm Estate thing, the Blackburn facsimile just came right into play for there, which to me that made no sense. It just figured, okay, we just have to do this whole cloth with the soap opera and just go from there, even though it was just so confusing. So basically, both Lisa's parents were pieces of work. So yeah, I can imagine the amount of therapy that she's going to be spending. Her and her sister are going to be going to a lot of therapy after all the bullshit that was dropped on them. So yeah, so towards the climax, Lisa and as well as Candy all come to agreement that okay, the fact that they proved that that her late dad's side piece is the father of their child, that cut a nice profit, which is what Candy's very ignorant, hoggish ass really wanted. So she got the piece. Lisa decides, okay, to sell it. I think sell the estate, and then I don't know if she sold the estate. I don't remember, but whatever the case, she decided to stay in Jamaica with Sean and work on her aspiring music career. So assuming she probably sold her house in Toronto, in Canada, and just lived and just went forward from there. No, for the exes like Mike as well as crazy ass Patrice, apparently Mike got bail because of the fact that he probably didn't know that his dumbass friend stole a car. He was let out, and then he said, I give up. I'm just going to go back to Toronto, lick my wounds. Probably go cheat on some other women when I get back. And then in his plane is other than Patrice. It does indicate that they're going to be a thing. So two very toxic and dysfunctional people are going to found each other at the end. It doesn't say what happens beyond that. Although I can imagine that probably it does say that the two of these people deserved each other. So I can imagine at some off screen that they probably became a thing before breaking up in a very dramatic and fashion. But and again, there's nothing else to it. So yeah, that's pretty much the movie. Now I was gonna say this again, it's a very entertaining movie, and Carrie sang as well as some other females like the actress that played Mystic, and as well as Noel Kerr and some of the other ones. Yeah, they were nice to look at. I mean, I give them that. And Sean and Chris Martin is a decent actor. I mean, yeah, and I'd seen him being up there with Will Smith or LL Cool J in terms of musicians turned actors. And we didn't really see Chris Martin didn't really do anything else outside of that acting wise. So perhaps he wasn't really doing the acting. He just said, hey, I'll just play a version of myself, and that's as far as it's going to go. Because we haven't seen him doing it acting, but he wasn't bad. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing about Karen Sang. And yeah, I'm just gonna say this. Karen Sang, for the time that she was doing her thing, because we haven't heard much new stuff from her recently. Great singer. She can sing her ass off. Like, I really think that she should have been bigger as a singer. Alright. Can't act to save her life. I'm sorry I have to say this. I know, don't hope if Karen Sang don't hear this that is like I'm bad minding her, but she cannot act. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know why. I think the thing is that the actress that played her cousin slash hidden sister, Mystic, she should have been the main character, because at least she probably had more range and depth as an actress. Or even the crazy one like Noel Kerr, who's Patrice. She should have been Lisa, because they can act better. But again, I think Karen sang at the time. I think because she was linked to Movado, who was one of the biggest artists back around that time, and still is to a lesser extent. She probably said, "Hey, we'll just make her the main character." Unfortunately, she just could not act, and it just plays into this virtue I did not like. And which is one of the main criticisms I had about this movie is the fact that one reason she got is because of the colorism factor. Like, let's just analyze her character. She's a biracial character. Like, her dad was white, her mom brown, and the aunt is who's Caucasian as well. This whole film unfortunately played into the colorism stereotype that I did not like. And what it did was that it made the brown or the white characters act more, they were more sympathetic, more relatable, more intelligent, and more balanced. A lot of the darker skinned characters, especially, and this is what I did not like about Candy's character, and this is one of the issues I had with Spice's character. They just played into some of the most negative stereotypes about the darker skinned black character people. Like, usually when you have a darker skinned black characters, they're usually the supporting characters, B, they're villainous or and semi-sympathetic, or C, they're just so clownish and buffoonish and so over the top. That is kind of an issue I had with her character special. And they also had this taxi man, I forget whose name it was, Prince. Same thing with him, like he was kind of flirting with the main character, Lisa, and he just had him just be this buffoonish character. I think he's a well-known actor. Ian Ellis is a well-known character. Like, he's been in a lot of movies, very underrated. No, so I'm mixing up with someone else, but his character is so buffoonish, and even had his wife who was played another Miss Kitty, who again was just like Candy. It was just this dark, vulgar, mannish character who just couldn't who is just so boisterous and so obnoxious. Is just like it was like you just couldn't say like either you elicit disgust from the character or this dislike. You just say there's just nothing really likable about the character or the character. And that's what they did out to the darker skin characters, except for Sean, who was like the other main character. He was only dark skin character, and the sister who had little screen time, and that female police officer who were also very minor characters, but most of the darker skin characters were just playing to some very negative stereotypes. And even Michael Lindenfort was dark skinned as well. He's another example. Like they just had to make the lighter skin or non-black characters more sympathetic or more grounded, and they had the dark majority of the darker skin characters act as buffoons. And again, that's the colorism stereotype that always plays out. And yeah, I know people say that Patrice, who's brown like the rest of the characters, was villainous. Yeah, but let's just be honest. Yeah, she is one exception, and even though she was cartoonish and so on, she didn't get as much screen time as say like Michael or even Candy, who were like the more antagonists of the film. So yeah, I did not like the colorism part that they played, and that was just like Royal Palm State. That's the same BS they used to do, like Ted Blackburn, white Jamaican character, his wife Julia Blackburn, white Canadian character, and even like their offspring. Even though both Ted and his wife were kind of like were polygamous, like Ted screwed every woman that he came across before and after he met Julia, and Julia had a side piece in some black doctor guy. But the thing is that most of their children, even though that they were morally great times, they were portrayed more as more balanced characters. The darker skinned characters like Mackie, as well as that villainous police officer, I forget Inspector Madden, or darker skinned characters were more villainous. And yeah, I know that the one of the main villains who was Sonny T, who was in this movie, I'm trying to forget the guy's name, something Zaka. Yeah, he was a lawyer in it, and so Munir Zaka. Yeah, he was the lawyer in it though, but and he was the main villain. Like he was like the Stefano De Miro of the Royal Palm State franchise. If you know Stefano De Miro from the soap operas, look that up. But even he wasn't as buffoonish. Like he was a genuinely sinister and dangerous character, but he wasn't like a buffoonish, or he didn't play into this racist caricature. But yeah, that was kind of the issue I have now. My take would have been is that they would have used someone like say Sakina there. You know, like she's not really like dark skinned. She's a much better actress than Carrie Sang. Or I would have used that girl. I know the one who appeared on Family Business. Who's that one Jamaican actress? I forget her name. The one that one of the okay, so the one of the Duncans was sleeping with, the one Jamaican prostitute. I really forget her name. Like she should have been the main character. Alright, cause she's at least better actress than Karen Sang. She's dark skinned enough that she would have been a balance. And the thing about it which I did not like is that they had to make her character a foreigner. Like you could have said, just give us a good Jamaican actress who doesn't fall to the browning stereotype and make her be the main character. And I would have toned down the soap opera thing. That's how I would have done it, because again, a lot of these Jamaican films, they cater to a certain audience, that the audience that loves the colorism crap. Like we're just not moving beyond it, and we figured, hey, this is going to appeal to a foreign audience who like to see non-black or near or light-skinned characters be the main characters in a more sympathetic light. But that's set in Jamaica back. That's just enforcing that colorism thing. And yeah, that was the main thing I did not like about this film is that we are just so used to that dark skin, light skin thing that we believe lighter is better, darker is not. And I think that this movie played into that though. I mean, I didn't say it at the time, but yeah, that was my issue. That is the colorism factor, and I also think they should have just used a Jamaican actress like that. And again, I really wish I could remember that lady from the Family Business. Let me just look her up 1 second. All right. Yeah, I'm looking her up now, and this woman is beautiful. I'm gonna say that this woman was so as gorgeous as Carrie Sang looks. She the character she should have been the main character in the film though. But I just really wish I could remember her name. All right. Crap. I just really miss him. Sorry, I'm just trying to look up this. Bear with me for 1 second. I'm just trying to look up this chick. All right. I think I'm gonna find her. All right. Okay. All right. I'm finding her. I think yeah. I think I'm almost yeah. I think yeah. I found her name, Kimberly Patterson. Yeah, Kimberly Patterson should have been the main lead, and trying to figure out how old she was at the time though. But she honestly could have should have been the main lead in the show, in the movie, because Kimberly Patterson, gorgeous. She doesn't really fit into that Browning stereotype, and like I said, she at least has better acting range. In all honesty, honestly, they should have used Kimberly Patterson, but again, they're trying to cater to to the Browning type narrative, and which reinforces that colors and bullshit. But yeah, that's my review for Destiny, which was and again entertaining film, but yeah, there was some problematic stuff I'd say about it though, and unfortunately, a lot of Jamaicans who watch this movie are not really going to care about this. But there again, there's some people who are critical thinkers are going to just be looking back and say, yeah, there's some things that are very troubling about this film and the type of precedent is setting, and we need to address this. And I'm going to be one of those people. So this is for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages, Miles Gusson Farron, Miles Productions, Real Thoughts and Miles. Ciao.